Hello, beautiful people. I'm back. Sorry I haven't been around for a while. During COVID, I've lost some family members and my business as well. I had a clinic, as many of you may realise, a hypnotherapy clinic, and it's been a pretty tough time. But being awake is something that is very, very good, and through all the healing modalities that I use, and you'll probably understand this, being a hypnotherapist and also reading the tarot, which a lot of people don't realise. I've done this since the late 1990s. I've done this well over 20 odd years. I can tune in a lot into what's coming up and what is kind of happening, at least for me and those who are closest to me. So today, what we're looking at is how can we cope with what's going on and the downside to being awake. Now, you would think that being awake, being aware to all the different modalities that are going on at the moment, in the spiritual realm, in a spiritual sense, in a physical sense, in a mental, emotional sense, you think being aware and being awake to all of that is great. It's a great party. But the downside to that, and there's always a polarity to either side of the coin, is that once you're awake and once that torch is shining into that dark corner of life and you're very much aware that there are certain things that are very unsavoury and there are certain things and aspects about yourself that are quite unsavoury, your shadow side, then sometimes that can be a little bit daunting. Sometimes it can seem a little bit of a threat. It can seem scary. We can feel ashamed of that part of ourselves. We can be angry with ourselves. We can beat ourselves up. None of which help, of course. So let's just use the cards as well today in tangent here to answer some of these questions, because a lot of people don't realise the tarot originally were designed for self-inner discovery. They weren't really for fortunes, past, present, future, only really to be used on a timeline as a tool to find out about the self, to be able to progress the self. And I use them to ask questions about me, my life, and different ways of thinking and looking at things. So they can be a really good guidance system, which is quite gentle as well. And it's all about perception as well, isn't it? It's how we look at things. If we're too judgy, if we're too angry, if we're in ego and we have to prove a point, maybe a good question is to ask, well, why do I have to prove that point? Why do I feel the need to have to say that or do that? Am I feeling heard? Am I feeling left out? Do I want to be noticed? These are all valid questions, But at the moment, what's going on with the C word, dare I say it, for being censored, a lot of people, are quite threatened by everything that's going on, and being awake to certain facts and things, again, as I said before, can be quite daunting. So what can we do about this? Well, I'm going to ask for everyone today what we can do, okay? And so what we can do, and from this card, what we can do is really look at our emotional selves and look at the ideas of what we do want, but in a young way, like children do, Kids, they've got this lovely way about them, haven't they, where problems just don't seem to exist for children. And you can just present a problem to them and they come up with the most linear, most obvious answer. And it's quite creative, and we might laugh at the silliness of it all, but actually children have got it right. Sometimes we need to listen to them. So by thinking about things in a young and creative way. You know, although we can be switched on and we can be aware to things, if we're thinking of things in a young and creative way, we're then looking at solution-based answers. We're not looking down, we're looking up. And as above, so below. Your mind has the ability to create heaven or hell. And it's up to you where you would prefer to live. And I know where I would prefer to live. So that's one thing, is coming up with creative ideas in your day, in your world, in your life, as to what you can do rather than what you can't do. The parts that are free rather than what are restricted. The world you would like to live in rather than the world you don't want to live in. And make a list. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't harm. It sends out good vibrations and it lifts your mood. All really, really helpful. Okay? Because the downside of being awake is that you know exactly what's going on right now. And it can be frustrating while you're waiting for things to get better, and they will. Another thing is take charge. Take charge of you, take charge of your work, take charge of your career. And make sure that you stay grounded, that you stay down to earth. This is really about not getting above our station, getting too much involved in the ego, but instead just going out in nature, staying grounded, keeping it real, not getting too caught up in media associations and in association with your ego too much, but just really going out, walk in nature, and also just focusing on your work, keeping your mind occupied in a good way so that you're harmonizing your life and you're keeping yourself nice and balanced. Okay. Also, when we look at the stresses and strains of worry, what can we do? Okay, so let's ask the tarot that, and I can feel the answers coming already. Now, sometimes we can be worried about money, but the answer here is to always put something to one side for yourself. Now, that doesn't just mean money, because each card can have so many different meanings. This can also mean putting something to one side. So it could be a special date night to one side, or you've got plans for a special meal for a loved one. It could be creating special time for yourself so that you can pick up your favourite pen and do some journaling. It could be to spend a beauty night with yourself and get some nice hand cream and make the most of your hands, give yourself much needed manicure, which is what I need at the moment. Little things like that, but it's setting something aside for yourself so that you don't get sucked in, you don't get sucked down so much into what is negative. Another downside of being awake, of course, is by being hyper aware and hypersensitive. If you're anything like me, you can wake up one morning and literally tune in to the mass consciousness, which means I will feel before anything is revealed on the news or whatever. I will feel what's going on in the world. I will feel it on an emotional level, and I will often feel drained, tired, lethargic, or I might feel slightly out of sorts, and I know something has been announced or that there's been particularly bad news that day just by the phone calls that I get from people, and you get all this stuff coming through. So that can lead us to feel really confused and disempowered. So we can feel like we literally don't have a choice. Of course, the answer here is put the swords down and then you can take off the mask. But you can't take off a mask when you're holding on to worry and fear that doesn't even belong to you sometimes. And often I find that I'm perfectly okay in myself. I'm okay. Is everyone else? So sometimes, you know, you may find that you get phone calls from relatives, friends, neighbours, or business associates, and they're piling stuff onto you. And actually, you're okay. You're perfectly happy in yourself, but it's just other people seem to have problems, and they're coming to you with those problems. So really at times like that, again, it's about putting some time to one side, taking a deep breath and putting down that worry. Saying no sometimes is the best yes to yourself that you could ever gift yourself with. So that's another thing. Of course, being awake, it allows you to be really switched on, which is great, but also it can play on your physical side. So again, try and get some nice hot salt baths or have some rest if at all possible. But I know that that's not possible for everyone. You could try and go for a walk. Breathe in some of that good ass prana, as Ralph would say. Ralph Smart, lovely man. But yes, it's just little things like that. Another thing the tarot is screaming at me to tell you today is to go find your own emperor. Now, an emperor is somebody who has wisdom. They're down to earth. They might be older, but also they're not just sensible. It might be a young person that has a real old head on young shoulders. So sometimes you want to go out and speak to somebody like that, get some advice, get their feedback, and try and make life a little bit better for yourself in that way. But yeah, of course, we all have struggles at times, don't we? So I'm just really trying to help and reach out to you guys today. So let's see what's going on in the world at the moment for today, okay? And I'm going to tune into the US because I'm being called to. United States, so I'm in the UK, but for some reason I'm being asked to tune into US, and what I'm getting is there is a lot going on behind the scenes, and it feels as if this wheel is in balance. There's a lot of things that are being rewritten. I can see an introduction of new laws or lobbying and bills coming in. I can also see a lot of authors at this time writing books about what's going on in these unprecedented times. I feel like there's a lot of diaries, a lot of journaling out there, and a lot of information that's about to be published from lots of different perspectives, which is going to be really interesting for future generations to read. I feel that there's going to be a discovery of some kind of truth, and that some truths are going to be revealed, and there has been some kind of deceit. It looks like it's political, in the political arena, and it looks like it is all coming into the light, that it is going to be shown. So that's really, really interesting. Somehow there's a link between the US and the UK on a spiritual level. There's some good guys behind the scene. I feel that this link is love. That there is a match, an energetic match between the US and the UK, and that the intention is held by many very dignified and honourable people, that we should go forward in a good way. I have a feeling of purity of thought, which is good. I have a feeling of an alliance is going to come forward, and this is going to be presented forward. There's going to be a suggestion from the US to the UK. So I feel something like that is going to happen. It's going to be quite powerful. For everyone out there today, just tuning in. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Now, I know that sounds harsh. It's the tarot, not me. But really, don't hold a pity party for yourself. No one likes a pity party. You might be sulking and not realising that there is love around you, or maybe it could be that you've not been able to see loved ones, which, believe me, I can fully understand. But Spirit is trying to offer you comfort. There is comfort and there is love and there is light coming from somewhere around you right now. So just take a look around. What could it be? Who could it be? Who could you pick up the phone to and reach out to? How could you feel better? Or is it just about looking out the window and seeing that lovely little bird, that robin sat outside just waiting for you to see it? You know, what is it about? But there is love that Spirit and your ancestors and all of our ancestors at this time are trying to offer us. There are many that have passed over and they don't want us to worry. Things are going to get better. They may take a little time. And I feel the first signs of really, really seeing things improve is around 2023. Remember that we're all learning, but we will be rewarded for a job well done. And that means that if you can just tune into your moral compass right now and really come into your heart center, okay, and just feel your truth, feel the good manners, feel the goodness, feel the good messages, feel the love, feel everything that's been passed down to you from well-intending people, and feel that in your heart. Breathe in and out through your heart center and you'll find a kind of a level of truth, yeah? A level of truth. And that truth will give you a much needed rest. It will help you to feel harmonized, balanced, and your moral compass, what you feel in here, will really feel more solid than what runs through here all of the time. The ideal is that you get the two to balance together, head and heart. I feel that in the future, probably the end of this year, next year, there's going to be celebrations. Things will get better. We've just got to hold on to this. And if you can just know, if you can feel in the seat of your soul, you know, and say, thank you so much that things are getting better. Thank you that they will get better. Thank you that they are better right now. Then that vibration, when you step out of fear, you step out of worry, even though you might be aware of what horrible things have really gone on during this whole thing, I dare say it, C word, then despite that, you will find that you will feel really, really uplifted just by saying thank you. Okay, so that will help. As a final card for everyone, what do the cards want to bring forward? New beginnings, new beginnings. You know, Spirit is handing us a wand. They're giving us work to do. There are going to be people coming forward with amazing ideas. I've got many visions of the future where I can see a new world, and I would encourage you to do the same. New ideas during this time when people have been at home and they've been sat down with their pen, they've been writing things down. There are inventions about to come forward. There's new technologies about to come forward. There is a new way of living about to come forward. It's quite an exciting time. So I will share you some of what I've seen in my next video. But in the meantime, just try and relax and thumbs up, keep it positive, have a good day, and I will be running my next video shortly after this one. Okay? Have a good day.